They say the Crips did it, and a couple brothers went to jail for it, We used to be called the baby Crips, and we took it and we ran with it.
Welcome to Boys in the Hood TV. Today we're going to be discussing the triple OG, Batman from the East Coast Crips. Now, Batman was born Gregory Davis in 1956 in South Central Los Angeles. He was the eldest of 5 children and raised by his loving parents. Now, at the age of 9, Davis was obsessed with the TV show Batman and would walk around his house with a towel on his neck as his cape. Now, his obsession was so bad, at recess, Davis would go into the bathroom and then hang upside down from the stalls. Now, this obsession would earn him the nickname Batman from friends and family. Now, in the 1960s, Batman would witness the Watts riots and even witness the formation of the Black Panthers. Now, one of Batman's closest friends was another teen named Raymond Washington. Now, in 1969, Raymond Washington would form the Baby Avenues, which was modeled after the original Avenues game. And Batman would be one of the original 10 members to join the Baby Avenues. Now, this would lead Batman to getting into trouble not long after joining the Baby Avenues, which would eventually cause him to be expelled from multiple schools due to constant fighting. Now, due to his behavior, he would be sent to Job Corps in Utah. Now, while there, he would take up boxing and karate to improve his fighting skills. But also while there, he would get into a lot of mischief by breaking into soda machines. And Batman was eventually sent back on a bus to LA, where he would get deeper and deeper into gangbanging. Now, by 1973, things would start to heat up in the streets after the Pirus were formed, which became the rivals of the Crips. Now, the Bloods had become in full effect with the Brims, the Bounty Hunters, and the Outlaws.
Pirus, they hence they signed like the CID. For us, the Crips is like the CID. West Side Brims would be something like the CID. LA Outlaws like this.
Now, that same summer, Batman and his homie named Jack Rabbit were at a burger stand near Fremont High School, which is where the Crips all kicked it at. Now, the sheriffs would roll up on them and arrest both of them for truancy. Now, instead of taking them back to school, the police would drop Batman and his homie off in the Mad Swans neighborhood on 80th Street. And once they let them out the car, the police would yell out that they had Crips in the area. Now, as soon as the police drove off, Batman and Jack Rabbit would start to run towards the corner. But before they can get out, they were approached by members of the Swan. And one of the members yelled out, "Ain't you Batman?" But Batman would respond and say no. And that's when the Swan said, "I'm gonna ask you one more time." And then Batman finally said yes. And immediately, Batman punched the Swan member in his face. But Batman's homie, Jack Rabbit, would take off running, leaving Batman by himself. And that's when another Swan Blood member pulled out a shotgun and hit Batman in his face, causing his entire mouth to be busted open. Now, as Batman hit the ground, that's when the Bloods yelled out, "Don't f with the Swans. We ought to kill your ass." But they would let Batman go, and they would just walk away. Now, after this fight, Batman swore vengeance on the Swans. But in 1973, after his homie Raymond Washington got sentenced to 3 years, Batman, along with his other homeboys, would ride through the outlaw Blood neighborhood where they were having a party at. As they were driving down the street, Batman would lean out the window and yell out, "Nigga, this Crip, f*** a outlaw." But the Outlaws would respond back, "F*** a Crip." And directly after this, that's when one of the Outlaws pulled out a shotgun and started blasting at Batman. Batman and the Crips start speeding away while ducking bullets, but they end up crashing the car after losing control. Now, Batman and the Crips would then immediately hop out the car and barely escape the neighborhood. Now, weeks later, Batman and his homie Tick would visit a female in Pasadena who stayed in the PDLs, aka Devil's Lane hood. As Batman parked the car, members of the lanes would walk up and say, "What up, Blood?" But Batman would let them know that he didn't gangbang. So eventually, the lanes left him alone. But after Batman picked up his girl and they began driving, Batman would lean out the window and yell out, "Chitty chitty bang bang, f*** a lane, this Crip motherfucker." And then Batman pulled out his nickel-plated .38 and started shooting at the lanes as they started running. Now, as Batman and Tick are driving back, they saw a group of Candy Red lowriders. Batman's homie Tick wanted to follow behind them because he saw a group of females, but Batman knew something was off. Then one of the homies, but they was Bloods. But as Tick decided to go ahead and follow Batman's advice, one of the men in the lowriders yelled out, "Where you going, Blood? It's a spot right here." And immediately, they started shooting at Batman and Tick as they sped away. But in return, Batman would lean out the window and start shooting back at him. Tick's car would get shot up with bullet holes, and even a bullet would hit the gas tank, causing them to run out of gas. But somehow, Batman and Tick would escape with their lives. Now eventually Batman would catch a gun case and be sent to juvie. But after getting out, Batman would start attending church of the infamous Jim Jones. Now not long after being out, Batman would also be arrested once again on another gun charge after robbing someone. Now this time he will be sent to the Youth Authority for 18 months at Preston. Now while there, Batman would run into the same masked Swan Bloods who hit him with that shotgun not too long ago. Batman would approach him in the mess hall and ask the Swan member did he remember him. And the Swan replied, no. And that's when Davis looked at the Swan and said, I'm Batman. And they start squabbling right there in the mess hall. Now by 1976, Batman was released and was working at the Watts Labor Community Committee. Now while working here, he would eventually get a call from Raymond Washington, who had just got released. Now the two would kick it, and as they walked to meet some of his homies in Gardena, Batman would show Raymond his sawed-off shotgun. But Raymond would say, we don't shoot people, we fight. But Batman would let Raymond know that times had changed since he's been away, and that nobody's fighting no more, and that it's all about guns. But sadly for Batman, this will be the last time he saw his best friend Raymond. By 1978, Batman will be arrested again, but this time for assault with a deadly weapon, which he was found not guilty for. But because he was a felon in possession of a weapon, he would be sentenced to 2 years in state prison. Now the following year while in prison, Batman would get the news that his homie Raymond Washington had been shot and killed. Eventually, Batman would be back on the streets by the 80s, and he would start selling dope. But only 3 years after being out, he would be arrested, this time on murder charges. Now after his arrest, the police would raid his parents' home and find guns, drugs, scales, and other illegal items. Now with this murder charge, Batman was facing life in prison, but he pleaded not guilty. Now due to lack of evidence, Batman was eventually found not guilty, and he would only serve 2 years for the gun charge. Now this time while away in prison, Batman would befriend the serial killer Charles Manson, who he had heard was a racist, but they would end up becoming cool and having back and forth conversations. Now eventually Batman would be back on the streets by 1985, broke with no money. So Batman would decide to grab his Uzi and decide to go rob some high rollers. But in the midst of the robbery, one of the high rollers that Batman was sticking up for the money would let Batman know that he had saved his life years ago during a shootout. The man would give Batman $2,500, a brand new .357 Magnum, and a half a key of cocaine to get back in the dope game. Now with this, Batman was able to get back on his feet. And around this time in the streets, you would see Batman cruising around in new cars, new clothes, making a lot of money from the dope game. Now the gang violence in the 1980s was at an all-time high. So Batman made sure to rock a bulletproof vest just in case while he was out in the streets. Now the following year in 1986, Batman would meet a restaurant owner named Fast Eddie, who owned a steakhouse. Now Fast Eddie would talk to Batman about changing his life and getting out the dope game. Now hanging around Fast Eddie, Batman would start dating a woman named Karen, who he had been trying to talk to for the longest. Now with this new glimmer of hope and inspiration, Batman would still be seen in the streets, especially being known for riding around in his new Chevy blue van with his homies, still armed up with guns, ready for war. Now this van in particular, he even had a memorial on the fifth wheel of all his dead homies that he lost to gang violence. But eventually his girl, the restaurant, and seeing older people that enjoyed the music like jazz at Fast Eddie's Steakhouse began to take a toll on Batman, and he would come to the realization that it was more to life than just gang banging and selling drugs. And this would lead Batman to going back to church, and he will also befriend the famous activist and ex-NFL player Jim Brown. And by 1994, Batman gang banging and drug dealing was long behind him, and he would marry his girlfriend, Karen, and they would have their wedding take place at Jim Brown's home. Now, over the next decades, Batman would do community work and gang interventions to try to save youth from enduring the type of violence that he went through as a kid. This would lead Batman to winning and receiving multiple awards for his work in the community, and even getting a letter from the White House in 2000. Now, Batman continues to do good work in the community up until his death at the age of 69. I would like to thank everybody for tapping in, and I'll see y'all next time.